About 1 in 10 people experiences daily symptoms of heartburn, and while there's no proven diet to prevent it, there are ways to lessen the symptoms or eliminate them altogether. Susan Moores, nutritionist with Kowalski Markets, is here now with some tips on adjusting food choices to avoid heartburn. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
This is very timely because I ate a bunch of red onions last night in the middle of the night.
There
they
you go.
came back to say hello. You have broken this down into areas, and why don't you tell us what you have in mind?
Well, first of all, it helps to understand anatomically what's going on. So once we swallow food, it travels south and then it goes from your esophagus to your stomach. And there's a seal or a valve between your esophagus and your stomach that keeps acid, pretty corrosive acid, from coming back up. But when that valve weakens or that seal weakens or relaxes, then it comes back up and it does a fair amount of damage. So there's foods that cause trouble, and then there's foods that are easier on your system. So there's two categories of food that cause trouble.
Let's look at trouble.
And let's look at trouble. And the first one is acidic foods. And what happens is when you have that acid come back up comes with it an enzyme that attaches like Velcro to your esophagus and your throat. So when you have acidic food, it kicks up that enzyme and it starts to damage cells. So acidic food becomes troublesome because of that enzyme. Yep, so it's citrus fruits, which are lovely and all good to have if you don't have this problem. It's if you have the problem. But tomatoes, citric acid, which is in a lot of soda pops, fermented foods like pickles and
Orange
vinegary
juice.
kinds of foods. Yep, so acidic foods cause you heartburn or problems with that burning sensation. Then there's foods that relax that valve. They literally sort of make that seal less strong. And those kinds of foods are your onions and garlic and mint and spicy foods. Fast foods or high-fat foods. Caffeine does, so chocolates and drinks like that.
Alcohol.
Alcohol and flaming Doritos.
Oh. It's one of
Note
my
to
favorites.
self.
Note to self.
Yes. So then there's things that you can do to make it easier. And
Calm
really,
it down.
Yep. So small, frequent meals help. So when you have a big, heavy, large meal, especially closer to nighttime, that puts a lot of pressure, so it comes back up. But then these kinds of foods, and there aren't a lot of fruits because they tend to be sort of acidic, even if it's not citrus. But melons and bananas are great. Root vegetables and greens are great. Grains and beans. So just sort of this lovely grouping of foods, small, frequent meals.
And so readily available, which is so wonderful. This is
all
for
easy
you.
to eat and delicious.
Thank you for the primer on this, but there's more good information that we have for our viewers today. They can tune in to KARE11.com, look into the 4 p.m. show page, the news tab there under the news at 4, and you're going to find all this good information that Sue has shared with us.